partners. Oh, thank you for recording that, Katie. We have three different partners joining us today, and I'll let each of them introduce themselves. We have Miriam from the Voter Network and Patrick from Thrive Allen County. And then also Ian Campbell is from the Neighboring Movement. He was unable to join us today, but he did send a video. So you'll kind of get to still hear from him directly a little bit later. So with that, Miriam, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you to introduce yourself.
That sounds good. Hello, everybody. My name is Mariam Abed. I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Voter Network, which is a nonprofit that you all is one of our partners. And I have been working as the volunteer coordinator for almost 2 years. I have been living in the US for like 5 years, and I did my master's in religious studies, and I've always been really interested in the overview of like political science and religion. So that's kind of why I've been here for a while.
So, thank you. And Patrick, if you could introduce yourself briefly, and as well as I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the on your partner's name in the room, but if you both could introduce yourselves, I would love that.
Sure. I'm Patrick Zerjaks. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator at Thrive Allen County. I've been here about 2.5 years, and I take care of a lot of different programs, but one of the programs I'll talk about today is our bike share program. And
Marcia Davis, I'm Director of Community Engagement, and I work with Patrick and on the bike share program too.
Okay, awesome. Thank you both. Okay, so with that, I'm going to provide a little bit of an overview of our special grants, and then I'll turn it over to our partners to talk more in more detail about what those look like. Um, so just so you know, all of our special grants that we have currently available are listed on our website at the website or at the link there. We have a whole page dedicated to just our special grants, and within them, when you go to that page, we list all of them, and then you can click on them and learn a bit more about each of them. So feel free, and we do encourage you to check those out for just any additional details that you are looking for. In terms of eligibility, this does come up a lot. Our Kansas Healthy Congregations teams are eligible for all the opportunities that we have available currently. And our Nebraska teams, you're eligible for all except for just the voter to voter program, because right now I believe that's only operating in Kansas, though we do have some other resources for our Nebraska teams to support voter engagement. So while the voter to voter program in and of itself isn't in Nebraska, like we do have other resources that we would be happy to provide for you if you're interested in engaging in voter engagement and different civic engagement pieces. How to get access. Right now, all of our grants are open for applications at the moment, and we'll speak to that a little bit more as we get into each of them. They each kind of have their own process, but the process should be pretty simple. I think the best thing that you can do is if you are interested in any of these is to email me or Katie, and then we'll get you we can answer any questions and move you along on the process and connect you with the right partners and just get all those pieces in place. But feel free, yeah, please email us. And again, if you go to our website, we do kind of talk about what the process is for each of them. We try to make it as simple and streamlined as possible. So again, just shoot us an email if you have questions and if you're wanting to consider applying, or even if you're just wanting to talk through, like, this seems really interesting, but I'm not sure if it's a good fit for us. Can we talk about it? We'd be happy to do that. The other thing I did want to mention briefly is the reporting process. We do have a reporting process. We try to keep it pretty straightforward, but it is different. For those of you who are really familiar with how our reporting and that works for our renewal grants, it does happen a little bit differently for our special grants. And Katie, I don't know if you wanted to speak to that any further, but we have just a different system. So it goes through a slightly different process for the reporting piece. I have some of
Sure.
that.
I'm happy to. We just have, this is our internal system. We have a specific one we use for healthy congregation churches, and this is actually one we utilize for all of our other grant making. And so that's why you'll see a different system, including there will be emails that will go out with links for you to set up the information over those, or oftentimes we try to simplify the process so that you aren't having to submit a full report like what we have for our other grants. And so we may have a modified send us an email with this information towards the end of your grant. So that's how those will be managed as well.
Thank you. And then let's see. And these are the special grants that we currently have available in open. We have our Faith and Democracy, the voter engagement special grant. We have a bike share special grant, our faith-based animator network, which is doing more community development and leaning into asset-based community development pieces and neighboring. And so there's some different pieces there. We have a summer food service program as well as mental health first aid. So we're going to talk about each of these now, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Miriam, to kick us off with our Faith and Democracy and the Voter Network special grant.
Absolutely. Do you mind going to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just a little bit of an overview of who the Voter Network is. We are a nonpartisan nonprofit. We only operate in Kansas. And, a lot of our work, our mission is to create a culture of informed voters. So, not only to increase voter turnout efforts, but also make sure that the people who are getting out to vote are informed voters, and specifically in communities which are systematically excluded and disenfranchised in these processes. The way we increase voter turnout is through our peer-to-peer effort, which is voter to voter, and I'll get to that in a second. That's mostly what I'm going to be talking about. But we also do a lot of other work with we have nonpartisan ballot guides because, we talk about voter education a lot, which are available in English and Spanish, also election timelines like the one that I have up there. And we say that this at the Voter Network a lot, that you don't have to be an expert in elections and voting, everything related to that before you encourage other people to do that. I certainly was not. Rules are changing always. Back home when I started voting, I did not know much, but I always was talking about it. So that's why we also have a lot of template emails and flyers to, teach and support anybody who works with us, specifically through the Voter to Voter program, on how to actually talk about these things and what information is necessary. So we also have that, and we also do voter registration drives. Can I go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So I mentioned voter to voter and peer to peer, right? So it's based on this idea of relational organizing, which is a fancy word for this idea that our trusted relationships carry a lot of weight. So messages about what we talk about are important, but a lot of times the trusted messenger is more important than the message. Who it comes from is very important. It's true. It's very intuitive to us. It's very true, for example, for all of us. It's a very cheesy and weird example, but for example, I never cared about taking fiber in my diet for the longest amount of time. And then I had seen it on social media and everywhere, but then one of my really good friends talked about it so much that I started thinking about it. And now it's a thing which I think about always when I'm, grocery shopping and eating and everything. So it's mostly about we care a lot about things when they come from a person that we trust. So for me, it's true in our personal lives, in my organizing life. So that's the idea. So we want our tool is based on this idea that you will talk to the people you already know, where you have trusted relationships. Next slide, please. So, and there has been a lot of research done because, it shows that people trust the messenger in terms of medical professionals, your religious leaders, your church members, your local business owners. If I go to, if you're talking to somebody who you're friends with and go to church with every day, and you talk to them about an upcoming election or tell them some information about that is going to have a lot more effect, specifically in this age of misinformation and disinformation where you don't know what is happening. I know that for Kansas, our laws change very frequently. We have had changes in the legislature which will affect how we vote this year, and we have had that same thing in the last year as well. So those of you who are always thinking about this will have these ideas, but a lot of other people who are not thinking about this will not. So you are a trusted messenger in those spaces. Next slide. Wow. Next slide. So I wanted to put this up here because, this is going to be, for those of you who don't know, there's going to be an amendment on the ballot for the primary this year. And I wanted to give a little bit of an idea of what voter turnout looks like in primary election years and even years. And this is from 2016 till 2024, right? And as you can see, generally voter turnout in primaries is very low. So, but 2022 was, an amendment on the ballot again, for those of you who remember, and the voter turnout, because of, the work of a lot of people and amazing organization, it went up, right? So that's what we are hoping it happens this year as well. And that's why you talking to the people is actually really important, and doing voter engagement work, because, not a lot of people will know about this. And historically, we'll have very low turnout in primaries, and a lot of people won't even know that they, for example, generally, on even year primaries, people who are unaffiliated don't vote. They don't know that they actually can get a ballot because there is an amendment, right? So next slide, please. So voter to voter is, as I told you, the idea of relational organizing, peer-to-peer work. The way it works is it's like a website. It's free to anybody. Anybody can go and create a team on there. That's how the website works. What it does is it gives you access to voting history of people around you, which is already public data. That is data which is public out there already. It gives you a structure for that. And the way it works is like anybody who wants to use this website will create a team, and they're called a team leader. And then they can recruit other people to, do this work with them. I don't know about you. I sometimes like to do things with people because I'm scared to do them alone. So, if I create a team, I will recruit an ambassador who will do this work with me. And the whole idea is that if both of us who are in a team, we talk to 10 people who usually don't come out to vote, it will, increase voter turnout, because we're talking to the people that usually are not reached out to, because candidates don't reach out to them, other people don't reach out to them, because people who are less frequent voters do not get that information all the time, because that's not the way our political systems work. Next slide, please. So this is a little bit of a screenshot of how the tool looks like. It's very intuitive. I do also weekly office hours and support on how to use the tool, but just to give you an idea, this is what the tool looks like. You look up the people. It's all public data. We just use it to do effective voter engagement. So, we try to look the people who need that support in voting. So, for example, I looked up 3 of my friends, and the most important part is the score that you see, 4, 1, and 2. So everybody is given a score based on their voting history. So if you voted in the last 4 general elections, it's amazing. You are a frequent voter. You turn out to vote every year. You probably know everything about voting currently happening, right? But Bianca, who is a 1, means she has only voted in 1 of the last 4 general elections. She probably only votes in presidential elections. Now, Bianca is my friend, and I can actually talk to her because I know that she's interested in a lot of things happening around. She's interested in a lot of things happening in my community. So she would be interested in, a local elections and a primary even, if I talk to her about it. So I need to send her a reminder. So it's strategic, voter engagement on who actually needs those reminders, who is not voting, and who is the one we need to reach out to. Similarly, Jill, she has a score of 2. That means she only voted in the last 2 general elections out of the 4. So that's it's all about strategic voter engagement. Next slide, please. And we have seen this work a lot. So, it seems very, small that like, what about reminders, but we have seen that trusted reminders and reminders from, people that you actually trust have worked very well. We have been doing this work since 2018, and the dark blue slide is, bar is the statewide turnout. And we have seen that on average, the turnout among the people that, use our tool and they reach out to those tools is usually higher than the statewide turnout. So those personal reminders, honestly, you only need like 3 reminders before an election. Make sure they're registered. Encourage them to do early voting, and also make sure they have a plan to vote. You would be amazed when you ask somebody what their exact plan is to do something, how it increases their chance of doing that thing. So it's not even necessarily about people being apathetic. It's basically about like, prioritizing something like this. So we've seen this time and time work again. Next slide, please. This, I don't know if any of you, I started this job back in 2024, and Lindsay actually presented to the Healthy Congregation Conference in Salina that year, and she shared this stat about the Democracy Index, and it's an index which shows on 12 health outcomes, like, which get changed by like voting access, and Kansas was right here. And can you go to the next slide? So this was 2024, and I checked it last night again, and you can see that our health outcomes have actually gone lower, and like, less voting access because we have restricted voting ID. Again, I'm only bringing it up because we have had laws change about that. These things keep happening. This is a very dynamic space, which is why there's no shame in not knowing. So those of you, we provide that education on what has changed and what you need to be doing. You all just need to talk to your, people about it, because those who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution, right? So you have those trusted relationship. You just need to talk to them about it because things change very rapidly. Next slide, please. So I have this QR code up here, and I will, send this to Jackie as well to share. You can book a time with me through this QR code to, if you want to set up a voter-to-voter team for your congregation, I can help you through it. I also have weekly office hours, which you can sign up for every Wednesday at noon and 5:30. If you want to create a team, or who already has one, we are actually doing just event for our team leaders. So those who create a team or are interested in making one, and I'm going to go over how you create a team and what are your responsibilities and how you can create community in those spaces. So you can sign up for that. Also, we do a lot of we have specifically for our faith teams, we have usually like webinars coming up. So if you sign up for your emails, that will also be another thing. We also we do a lot of weekly support within the election cycle. So if you sign up for those emails, that's also another thing. But yeah, any questions for me? I know I spoke for a long time.
Oops, sorry, wrong way.
You're welcome to come off mute if you have any questions.
And we can also open it back up at the end if there are more. If you think of some.
Yeah. That must mean I did a great job, y'all.
We'll take it.
All right, thank you.
And next we'll jump into our bike share program. And this will have, all right, there you go.
All right, so you want me to go?
Yep, go ahead. You're all set. Just let me know.
Once again, I'm Patrick Zerjak of Thrive Allen County. We're a nonprofit in Iowa, Kansas, and we've benefited from the health ministry support for bike share for quite a few years now. I think we started in 2018. And so I'll tell you a little bit about what we do here in Iowa, just so you have a general idea. Thank you. So we have about 50 bikes that we distribute throughout Iowa and La Harpe, Kansas. We did have a bigger network. Unfortunately, one of the businesses supporting our bikes in Moraine, Kansas, folded, so we took their bikes back, and then we had some pretty low engagement out in Savinburg. But that was due more to just limited hours to check the bikes out. But so anyway, we have about 50 bikes. The largest number of bikes we have are at the local college, Allen County College. We have about 20 bikes out there, and they're heavily utilized by the students out there. They have a very large population from out of town, and then even international students who have no cars or no way to get around. Luckily, Iowa is small enough to where you can reach most areas in Iowa on a bike pretty easily. So they spend a lot of time checking out bikes to go to Walmart to shop, to go downtown, businesses and things like that. So it is heavily utilized out there. The picture you see is kids who picked up some bikes that we ordered for them last year, parking them at the college. And notice they all look very similar. We try to kind of brand them with this yellow color so people can easily determine that they're bikes that are available through bike share here in Allen County. The second group of people who use them mostly will check them out either here at Thrive, at our local library, or at our community health office. And those are people who we identify just need help even getting around to their job, to medical appointments and such. So it's kind of a two-tiered thing. We originally envisioned that people would also pick them to use them to go out to our local trail system, but that hasn't panned out as much as the other uses we've had for them. Anyway, that goes pretty well. The way it works is we check them out for 24 hours at a time. We give them a lock and a key, and we ask them to check in every 24 hours. A lot of the folks who are regular users will tell them maybe every 3 days, maybe sometimes even once a week, they need to check in. So we kind of base it on how reliable our renters are. Renters is the wrong word, they don't pay. Our bike share borrowers are. And we have a Google spreadsheet that we use for the checkout. So I can see what the library has checked out. I can see what CHC, or Community Health Center, has checked out, and to who, so on and so forth. The exception to that rule is the college uses their library as a checkout area, and they have their own checkout process. So I have a little less control over the Allen County because of that, but I have a good relationship with the librarian there and the lady who takes care of the bikes. So that's not that big of a deal. Bikes sometimes go missing, but my theory on that is that they're free bikes. They can't really be stolen per se. That may be a somewhat naive view, but really the bikes never leave Iowa for the most part, even if they go missing. So we can typically find them if they've gone missing, and the police often help us do that. If we find a bike's gone missing, we will put the people on a do not borrow list for a while, and so that seems to work out pretty well for us. But like I say, since there's no cost involved in everything, I don't really think they could be stolen, but they can go missing, and I know it's a subtle difference, but I like to look at it the way I like to make, people into criminals who have just borrowed a bike and maybe left it somewhere and it got moved, something like that. So anyway, so that's that. So the Bike in a Box program we're basically a pass-through on this. So we are charged with trying to find healthy congregations in Kansas and trying to set up a system where we would take them 5 bikes, 1 bike rack. We train them on Google Docs on how to use that. We would provide signage as well, something that just says bike share on it. We come up with a waiver and little contract that people can sign when they take a bike. And we offer tech support as well. So how to use the Google Docs, how to fix bikes if they have any questions. We typically ask people to partner with a local bike shop for repair because they could be fairly far away. It's not easy for us to get away to fix a flat or something like that. We're currently working with some folks in McPherson. Their challenge on this is they really want to do this, but their challenge is finding a partner who actually wants to take responsibility for the bikes. And what that means is like a local chamber of commerce who wants to take responsibility for checking the bikes in and out and keeping track of them, a local business who might want to do something similar to that. And so I think that seems to be the biggest challenge because there's plenty of want out there from the healthy congregation community. It's just a matter of finding somebody to partner with to help them with that. So right now, that's what McPherson is working on. And if we can identify some other people in the future, I'm sure that will be the big part as well. But once you get that done, it's easy enough. We just bring the bikes to you. We'll order the bikes for you, bring them to you with all the supporting documentation and hardware, and show you how to do routine maintenance if you want to. These are single-speed cruiser bikes. And we like to keep them simple like that because they require very little maintenance. The most you really should have to do is change an occasional flat. And I know this sounds silly, but air up the tires. Keeping the tires aired up will really help maintain the bikes and make them less likely to get flats. And we do provide a pump as well for our folks wherever we take the bike so they can easily pump up the tires. The pumps have gauges on them and are easy to use. So that's kind of an overview of what we do. We really enjoy doing this. It's a great program, and especially in small towns where people need help. Thank you. Getting themselves around. It's a really good program and allows people an easy and free way to get around should they need it. So that's all I have right now.
We can go into Nebraska.
Do I?
We can go into Nebraska too.
Oh, okay. Well, as Marcia points out, we can go to Nebraska.
We have done it. We have done a couple communities in Nebraska in the past.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay. So, if any questions, we can save them for later. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Does anyone have any questions right now before we move on to our next opportunity? Okay. All right. One is a video. So let me make sure that hopefully you all can, hopefully I got all my settings right.
Hey everybody, my name is Ian Campbell. I am the Faith-Based Program Director at the Neighboring Movement, longtime partner of the United Methodist Health Ministry Fund and Healthy Congregations. And I'm super excited to be with you once again, virtually this time, but really just happy to share a little bit about what we've got going on in the Neighboring Movement, what kind of programs we've been working on over this past period, and what we've got upcoming. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll just share my screen and show you some things that we're working on. So if you were at the Health Fund retreat, you may have received a packet that had some of these resources in here, but I'll just kind of go ahead and let you know. So the Neighboring Movement, you might remember us having worked with the Health Fund and been at retreats in the past. We've shared a lot about the Good Neighbor Experiment, a program that we ran with church congregations. We have moved to a different program called the Faith-Based Animator Network, which I will talk about here in a moment as kind of our main program. But after listening to you all and hearing some of your needs in this moment, we have been inspired to do some things that are just kind of one-off workshops, just about an hour each, that we can come provide at your church or online in form of webinars with the Health Fund, or maybe a one-off webinar with your church or with some other churches all together. Just whatever fits you. We want to take this basic menu of workshops we can offer, and then we can be flexible based on what you need. So this first one here has been really popular in the last year. This is Congregations as Connectors. And this is about kind of a new role for a new time for churches. This is about the church moving from primarily program provider to following relationships, letting relationships and the gifts that are present in community just kind of take the leading role and let that set the agenda. So it's about the stressors that have come under in the last few years with the most recent with a kind of traditional program-based, needs-based model, and naming the wonderful work that that model has done, but also recognizing that sometimes a shift is needed, and we can take this missional, incarnational perspective of what does it look like for the church to get to know the neighborhood that they're in, and to get to know, of course, the inside of the congregation itself, and all of the gifts, just inside and out, all the possibilities, and then to step into the role as kind of connector of neighbor to neighbor, neighbor to association, association to association, institution to institution, neighbor to all of those things, right? So that's been a really powerful workshop, and just helps you think about what does it look like to be the church in this time. Another workshop that we've been working on is covenantal neighboring, and that is really just about rooting in place, taking a posture of being wholeheartedly dedicated, or we say covenantally connected, covenantally committed to a particular place, to a neighborhood, to a church, to all that comes with that, the people there, the ecology there, the local associations, right? All of that. Just what does it look to be really dedicated and to welcome people into that space well, to sustain relationships well, and when it comes time to move on in life, to leave in a good way that cements relationships rather than fracturing them. And the last one here is about discovering your neighbor's gifts and making them feel deeply heard and valued and listened to through the power of what we call holy listening conversations. And learning those gifts, going on this kind of treasure hunt for what God is already up to in your church, or in your neighborhood, or in the neighborhoods where your people live, and discovering those gifts, and then the power of mapping those out towards new possibilities. So all of these, I think, are really powerful workshops that are just an hour, and we can do one, and if it goes well, we can do more, right? But we're also using these workshops as an opportunity to reach a broader audience, but then find those people that are especially excited about what we're offering. And in that case, we can introduce them to this program right here, the Faith-Based Animator Network. So if you want to dive deep, if you're really excited to, really get to know your neighbors on your block, to go from knowing 0, 1, 2 neighbors to hosting a block gathering of your own at the end of the cohort. If you want to practice those holy listening conversations and learn just all about what your neighborhood has to offer and what God is doing in your neighborhood, and you want to do it alongside passionate people of faith, people from your own congregation, people from the United Methodist Church, but also people from other denominations, Catholics, evangelicals, just you name it, lots of different types of groups, people of faith that care and want to neighbor. This is your space. You get to kind of interpret those neighboring experiences through your faith, and then learn skills that you can take back to your church building. Skills that are best practiced in your own neighborhood, where maybe there isn't the barrier of, oh, hey, I go to this church. Instead, all you got to do is point to your own house, and people will kind of relate to you, right? So you build up some skills that you can then take around the church building. So this is a 14-week program. It is paid. We pay you $250 halfway through the cohort, and then $300 at the very end of the cohort as just a gift and a thank you for the time that you're committing. That's about 3 to 5 hours weekly. And then we also ask your church to kind of come alongside you, cheer you on, kind of commission you, send you out, and then check in on you and make sure that you're doing this work. And over time, we believe that this can help change a culture slowly in the church and in the neighborhood, from a culture of scarcity to one of neighboring, to helping the church take on the identity of neighboring and the identity of community connector. And so this is for people that are really excited to dive deep and you can apply by scanning this QR code. Our next cohort is this summer, so I'll give you a second to pause if you need to and get this QR code, or you can go to neighboringmovement.org/fan and find our application there. But I'll share here. Let me move this to right there. Our summer 2026 fan cohort application deadline is May 7th for y'all. Just get that in as soon as you can because we kick off on May 27th. We have 2 in-person events and 12 other weeks of online gatherings. So the in-person gatherings are about halfway through the cohort, July 11th from 11 to 3 p.m. and Saturday, August 29th from 11 to 2 p.m. Other than that, you'll be meeting on Wednesdays. Right now it's about 12:30 to 2 p.m. And you'll be meeting on Zoom from Wednesday, May 27th, all the way till the end of the cohort for 14 weeks total. So that's it, y'all. Let me know if you have any questions. You can always ask Katie and Jackie as well, and they'll pass on any questions and field some questions here as well. I am an open book. I am deeply passionate about this work, and you can never bother me about it. So please don't hold back. I would love to talk about this stuff, and I'm excited to see you either in one of the workshops or as part of the Faith-Based Animator Network. Thank you so much. God bless, and talk to you soon.
All right. I was afraid it was going to start playing again. So I moved on to our next slide, but I just wanted to pause for a moment and see if anyone had any questions about anything Ian shared. Okay, if not, I'm going to share briefly about our other 2 summer or special grant opportunities that we have available to us. And Katie, please feel free to jump in on either of these as well. Another one we have is a summer food service program. And this is a one-time grant for up to $2,000. And it helps support either a summer food service program startup or expansion. If you already have one in your community, you might expand to serving food longer. Some folks will be like, okay, we're going to figure out how to do meals for kids on the weekends or during those couple weeks at the end of summer session before fall session for school starts. There's usually like 2 to 3 weeks there where the summer food program doesn't typically provide. And so sometimes folks have applied for grants to be able to help meet that gap. So there's different ways that you can use the money to start up or expand. And because this is a federal, the Summer Food Service Program is a federal program, so there are some rules. One of those is that meals must be served on site and sites must be area eligible. So there's some different spaces and places that are eligible for this based on different, I think, income factors and maybe some other economic factors. But if you go to the KSD website, they'll flesh all that out for you. The other piece of it is you need to partner with a USDA/KSDE approved sponsor or apply for approval as a new sponsor yourself. And I think, Katie, typically people work with someone that's already an approved sponsor, though there is that other pathway.
Yeah, so I think the caveat here is, and again, I think there are a number of people who utilized this opportunity previously, but I will say we have had a number of churches who have acted as hosting sites. We recognize that many of you have great kitchens in your facilities and great fellowship halls, and so some of the congregations have utilized that space. They also have been able to work with others in their community to kind of do drop sites for the food. So for instance, like they may technically be the one providing the meals, but then taking it to the pool in the summer and waiting by the pool for the kids and having drop places like that. So it just varies on how the program has been implemented. And I will say, Kansas Department of Education has been really helpful in figuring that piece out. The caveat is that application is due May 1st for the federal piece of it. But many who they base it not only geographically within your county on who may need food, it's even the location of the site. So, for instance, I think I remember Colby United Methodist Church. The school district didn't qualify, but their church did because of the location. They had low-income housing that was close by. They had some other pieces that were right there. They were in a sector. And so they were able to partner with the school district where the school was actually the site, but they were hosting the meals there where they were prepared. I shouldn't say that. The school district was preparing the meals and then they were hosting them there at their location, and they provided like additional reading to the kids. They were trying to help. They utilized their garden to be able to their community garden to be able to supplement some additional fruits and vegetables. So they used it as an opportunity to work within their community. I know there's others on the line who have done some similar pieces and trying to coordinate with their school districts, which I think this is a really good opportunity for that. But just as that's kind of there are the criteria, as Jackie was mentioning, that are USDA requirements as far as how they establish if a summer food program can be utilized. And they also, so I would say first off, if you're interested in this, look to see if your community already has an established summer food service program. If they do, this would be a great opportunity to come alongside them and partner with either volunteers. And that is one of the pieces we do require is if you are not the site that you are helping with volunteering. And that is how the money, and it doesn't have to be huge. We have some groups that have said they take turns with helping to do it. I say this, and then I also remember Salina Church of the Cross was right across the street from their YMCA, and their YMCA was who was the host, and they helped provide signage. They helped with some other pieces, and then again, we're doing some other support services. Like some of them are also providing meals for the parents, because that is one thing that is not covered with the summer food service program. So some of the families or childcare providers were bringing the children, but then they themselves didn't have food. So it was like a way to work to integrate and have that available for parents as well, or caregivers of the children. Again, this is for children 0 to 18. That's who is eligible for those. And so thinking about who might already be doing, we know libraries have worked on this. We know that school districts do it. Like I mentioned, if there are large childcare centers like your Boys and Girls Clubs, your YMCAs, others that are doing significant amounts of childcare may have a summer food service program. And if you go on the website, you're able to look up there and see if your community has qualified or is already participating in that. I don't know if
there
there
any
yeah.
any questions on this one?
And I forgot to mention here, so we said the May 1st deadline is for the USDA piece of it. With KSDE, it has to be submitted, so Kansas Department of Education. And the second one is our grant. We give you until May 31st to apply for that so that you're able to get, technically the season is June 1 to August 1 or August 15th, depending. But as Jackie mentioned, that extension of the time, you can go a little bit longer unless they've changed some of the restrictions this year, which I have not seen, but that might be the case. So those are typically the serving seasons. But Jackie was also right. They'll do like backpack programs for the kids so they have food over the weekend too. A lot of really cool ways that it's been used in both Kansas and Nebraska.
Jackie, This is
Yes.
Wanda Pumphrey. Just clarifying, it's a one-time grant, so if our church has received it at any time in the past, we do not and cannot apply again for, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we have one more I'm gonna touch base on here, and then we're gonna open it up a little bit to some questions and also to see if any of you have participated in any of these and would like to share a little bit. The other special grant opportunity that we have is a mental health first aid training. These are, and we offer it for both an adult mental health first aid as well as a youth focused mental health first aid sessions. These are typically they're blended, self-paced, so you do a little bit of pre-work and then you have a 5 to 6 hour live virtual session with a live training, but done virtually typically. This is free for all of our Great Plains United Methodist churches, and it's also free for just all Kansans. So if you know of others that might be interested in your community, if they sign up through us and they're in Kansas, that it is also a free opportunity for them. And the purpose of this and what it will help, what you learn through it is how to be able to identify and understand and respond to signs of mental health and different substance use challenges. So it isn't teaching you how to be a provider, but helping you to be able to see and understand when someone might be experiencing some mental health challenges or substance use challenges, and helping you to be able to support them and get them to the services and such that they might need to help connect them and refer them elsewhere. Yeah, and so you can sign up via our website. They have a session for both an adult version and a youth version every single month throughout the rest of I think through the rest of the year. You can sign up anytime, and it's pretty straightforward from there. I have actually signed up to do, I can't remember which one is which, but I'm doing, I think an adult version in May, and then maybe the youth in June or July. So if any of you sign up for either of those, you get to hang out with me virtually as well. So otherwise, there's plenty of them available. Okay, and so with that, I'm going to open it up to you all. If you have questions for any of our presenters or about any of the special grants, and or if you have done one of these special grants and would like to share a little bit about your experience with the group, I know folks would love to hear that as well. So I will open it up for either pathway.
I didn't catch this, is Janet Bathurst. I didn't catch Patrick's email fully.
Oh, I can send that out after, but I can also plop it in the chat here
Okay, thank you.
for you. But yeah, we will go ahead. We'll send out the slides and recording, but here is Patrick's email.
Yep, that's it. .org, just remember .org.
Yep.
I was
The
gonna
bike share one seems so exciting to me. I hope, it just seems like a fun one.
I will say we have had a number of churches in the past who did bike share, and it was really popular over the pandemic and has kind of waned a bit. But I think one of the things that Patrick mentioned that we had a number of churches do, it's a really great opportunity to work alongside others within your community. Again, like either your city offices or your public library, again, because oftentimes that's where you're going to check those bikes out. Again, I'm bringing up Colby because they've done a number of these things that I recalled that was kind of a unique way. They had theirs at their community college, but then they were checking them out through the library, but then they also had them at the public library, which was across town. So then they were allowing for differing groups because they knew some of those international students were utilizing those quite a bit. And then they had some that were located at the public library. And so they were able to use the bikes that way. So just as a way to think about some of the partnerships on that front, if it's something of interest in trying to figure out how you could work alongside others. So
Yeah, the other component to that is that you depending on how good of a salesperson you are, you may be able to sell a local business and the idea that it could bring business to their store. Now, all of our partnerships happen to be with nonprofit type organizations, libraries, CHCs, things like that. But if a business were to allow them at their store and do the check-in and check-out, you're going to, by definition, get people in your store. So that's a way to look at it, to try to create partners for yourself, if you can do that.
thanks for sharing that too, Cheryl, that you had done a bike share in Ottawa and used the public library. Can you share a little bit about that and how that worked?
Are you speaking to me or Carol?
Cheryl, sorry, I was trying to see if she could talk a little bit about the Ottawa program. She may not be able to come off mute. Sometimes it's tricky.
I was trying to. I don't think I can unmute her myself, so I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Cheryl, if you have anything to add, feel free to put it in the chat too. I think some of the pieces, yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Here, I'll see to ask to unmute. Nope, it won't let me either. I think one of the other pieces that comes along with the bikes are signage that you have to show for the bike share program. It also includes a bike rack and so the other thing that we have had some churches decide to do is utilize some of their funding as well for, like, say that's what you want to focus on for your program for the year. You can come alongside and say, hey, we want to set up a couple of bike racks around town as a way to show too. So they may set one up in front of their church. And then I can't remember which church it was that also did like bike to church one day. And so and I think it was the month of May, I think, is actually cycling month. And so I think they were trying to do some other events to tie it in and coordinate with the bike share program. But then I think they set up a couple of bike racks in other locations within their communities and donated those. So maybe in front of city offices. I've also seen where they've put in stations that have, as Patrick was mentioning, where there's like, you're able to pump up your bike tires, having like a watering station, things like that, that are alongside that. And that may be something to consider with the city and trying to partner with them on a few things.
This is Cheryl. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Cheryl.
Okay, I got off.
Yay.
So the church worked with the library, and the library had the checkout system. Our only struggle with it was the maintenance of the bikes and who was going to pay for the maintenance, because we have a bike shop in town. So the first 2 years, our church paid for the maintenance of the bikes through our Healthy Congregations grant. And then on the third year, the library decided that they were going to require anybody who checked the bike out to have a library card. And because they were finding people weren't returning it because they didn't have a library card. So it made people a little more accountable because they had to have a library card to check it out. And they took the program over. So they're maintaining the bikes now with the help of the bike shop. So they're still, the bikes are still there. We just are not affiliated with it anymore, but they're still being used. So
I mean, I think that's, again, like really looking at it as a partnership too, right?
Right.
So I think that's fantastic. The other thing I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Patrick, is I think they've even required some, either their library card or if they have an ID of some kind, just because, again, to make sure that they're returning those bikes. That was one thing I think I'd heard other communities do too.
Yeah, we try to minimize the amount of stuff they have to do because we don't want to eliminate people who really need the help. A lot of times the people who really need the help are the ones least likely to have driver's license and things like that. But we do, our library does not require a library card to check the bikes out. I'm sure the college does, but we also partner with our library. The minimum we would like is a ID card. So we at least know, have an idea that where we can get a hold of the people. And we do occasionally get people who do not follow the rules and report it often. But like I say, most of the time the bikes make it back to us somehow, some way. And that's the important thing. So unless people are physically throwing bikes in the back of their pickup truck and taking them out of town, I don't get that worked up about it. But we do try to stay on top of it.
Any other last questions or anything anyone wants to share before we wrap up for today? Well, if not, we will wrap up for today. But again, we'll send out some of these resources, and I know we have some additional things from the neighboring movement to send. So we'll get this recording and things out to you all soon. But again, please feel free to reach out to me or Katie if you have any questions, or if you're just interested in one of the programs, or if you have a cool story to share. We love hearing those too. So if there's anything you want to share with us, please do. We love hearing from you all. So thank you for joining us today. And again, we'll send out our follow-up afterwards, and we'll be in touch soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.